I've made hundreds of productivity YouTube videos on this channel, and we all know the common productivity strategies like the Pomodoro technique, time blocking, Eisenhower matrix, but in my opinion, the hardware that I'm using, that is my 6 Apple devices and 3 Apple apps that I use every day that all work seamlessly together, make me far more productive than any productivity strategy out there. So while Apple's hardware is impressive on its own, the real brilliance emerges when these devices communicate with each other, and once you experience this kind of synergy effect where it streamlines your daily workflow, you'll understand why Apple's ecosystem is nothing short of genius. So I'm going to walk you through a very normal day in my life, and I'll show you how I use every Apple device within the ecosystem to make me more productive. And just for context, I run 3 businesses. One is this Apple review YouTube channel. I also have a YouTube growth agency called Playstack, where we essentially help businesses get more views on YouTube and turn those views into leads and then sales. And the third business is a 30-day challenge community where we essentially support each other on completing 30-day challenges like walk 10,000 steps every day, run 5K every day, no sugar for 30 days, those kind of challenges. It's actually a really fun business to run. Anyway, that's enough for context. Let me show you how my Apple devices work seamlessly together. Seriously, genuinely genius. This video is sponsored by GetResponse. The Apple Watch. My day starts at 6:30 a.m. when my Apple Watch gently taps my wrist, and this might seem like a small thing, but it's actually really clever. The haptic alarm wakes me up gradually as opposed to a really loud alarm blaring in my ear from my iPhone, which is probably the last thing you want to hear in the morning. Within seconds of waking up, I get my first taste of the ecosystem's power. My watch displays my sleep quality, upcoming calendar events, and weather all synced perfectly with my iPhone. What's interesting about the Apple Watch sleep tracking is its intelligence. If I've had a poor night's sleep, let's say less than 6 hours, it automatically adjusts my daily fitness goals and even suggests modifying my workout intensity, which I think is quite clever. The first app I check in the morning is probably the app that honestly pretty much runs my entire day, and that is Apple Calendar. I've created separate calendars for each business, so everything coloured in yellow are for events relating to one business, everything coloured in blue are for events relating to another business, and everything coloured in purple are personal events, like when my personal trainer comes, physio appointments, or taking my cats to the vet. Here's a power tip, if you like, most people miss. Apple Calendar's natural language processing is really very advanced. So I can say, schedule a Playstack client meeting next Tuesday at 2 p.m. at Cupid Coffee, and it not only creates the event, but it also adds the location, it checks for conflicts across all my calendars, and it even estimates travel time based on current traffic conditions. At 7:30 a.m. I head to the gym, and this is where my AirPods Pro and Apple Watch create a really effective fitness tracking system. So the AirPods active noise cancellation blocks out gym noise, but here's the clever part. When someone needs to talk to me, I just double tap to activate transparency mode. No need to remove them or pause my music. My Apple Watch tracks my workouts automatically, so whenever I go to the gym, even if I forget to start tracking the workout, my watch will know that I'm working out at the gym, so it will automatically start tracking. But then it's like, okay, why would you want to track your workouts? For me, it's really quite important because I'm training for a couple of triathlons and marathons this year and early next year. And so it's important that I do keep track of exactly what workouts I'm doing and when. So my Apple Watch is connected to Strava, and I have basically a history of all the workouts I've done over the last few months, which is helpful to see if I'm, for example, overdoing running or not cycling enough or swimming too much, and I can make better data-based decisions when it comes to my training. If I wasn't into fitness, if I didn't really exercise, I probably wouldn't have this Apple Watch, but because I do exercise daily and I'm striving towards some quite big sports events, this is one of my favorites and most used Apple devices, which leads me onto my most used Apple device is the MacBook. And this is my productivity powerhouse. It's where I spend probably most of my day and where I get most of my work done. So after being a dedicated Windows user for over 20 years, my pivot to the MacBook Pro 14 M1 just 4 years ago was one of the best decisions in terms of productivity that I've made. I'm not going to go over the specifications because this is not a spec video or a review video, but the MacBook Pro is so nice to work on. From the touchpad that is very satisfying to use, from the keyboard that is very satisfying to use, the liquid retina XDR display, to the impressively loud speakers here on both sides, it's just a really nice to work on every day. The battery life that lasts through a workday means I can focus on output rather than searching for power outlets. And the MacBook doesn't just accommodate productivity needs, it actively removes technical barriers, allowing creativity and efficiency to flow uninterrupted in a way that fundamentally changed how much I accomplish daily, making me question why I resisted switching from Windows to Apple. Anyway, onto Apple Notes. I use Apple Notes as my main note-taking app after using more than 30 note-taking apps over the years and reviewing pretty much all of them on this YouTube channel. I keep coming back to Apple Notes. For one reason, Apple Notes does one thing, but it does that one thing really well. It helps you capture and organize information. And you probably already know the basic features like that you can pin important notes, you can format text like change the color or font size, you can add attachments to your notes, or you can add images. But there's so much more you can do with notes. I could make a whole video on it, but yeah. I love Apple Notes. I use it multiple times a day, every single day. Another software that is not Apple, but still a very integral part to my whole productivity system is GetResponse. So when it comes to productivity, automations are so important. By automations, I mean systems running in the background when I'm sleeping or when I'm eating or when I'm walking the dog. I've got 3 businesses, and without automations, I would not be able to run those businesses as efficiently as I am. I only have 24 hours in the day after all. So that's where this video sponsor GetResponse comes in. GetResponse is the only software you need to send emails, to automate marketing and monetize content, meaning you can grow your business a lot more efficiently. I'll give you an example. This is a 30,000 foot overview of one of my businesses. Now, most of the traffic comes from YouTube, and when people watch my videos on YouTube, they might download a free lead magnet, and this can be a PDF, it can be a mini course, it can be a planner, and in return, they join the first email list. With the first email list, they get an email every day for 5 days. The reason for this is because they're more likely to buy in the first 5 days. If they don't buy in the first 5 days, then they automatically get moved to a second email list where they receive an email every week for the rest of the year. Bearing in mind, these emails are 97% value and 3%, oh, by the way, I have this $100 course. If you're interested, feel free to buy it, right? So really providing value. And with this automated system, I've sold over 30,000 courses online. I make one YouTube video, and when a potential customer is added to the funnel, they receive my content automatically for the rest of the year. And it's GetResponse that can manage this entire system. So you can view the whole workflow within GetResponse with their visual automation workflows. So you can see with this example, as soon as someone subscribes to a form, they are automatically sent a newsletter, and if the newsletter was opened, then it triggers a set of actions. But if the newsletter wasn't opened, it triggers a different set of actions. Really very clever and illustrated very clearly with the visual automation workflows. GetResponse also uses AI-powered email creation, which can save you hours a week. So instead of spending ages writing new letters to my audience, GetResponse's AI suggests engaging content that actually drives views and sales. For example, let's say I want to write a newsletter to my email list for my YouTube agency, and I just type in a sentence or two on what I want the email to be about. I type in what kind of business I have, who is the email for, and what kind of email it is. And I choose the formatting, theme, add a logo if you wish, and within seconds, GetResponse creates the foundations of a newsletter. in literally less than 30 or less than 60 seconds. As for the newsletters themselves, you can create just regular newsletters, which are usually in the form of weekly emails, or you can create premium newsletters where subscribers pay a subscription. You can use these to grant your subscribers early access to exclusive information and deliver specialized knowledge. Additionally, you can share valuable resources like ebooks or learning materials and maintain a consistent, ad-free reading experience. GetResponses, pop-ups, and sign-up forms are really useful too. At the beginning of the funnel, the first step is often to collect an email, but then it's like, okay, how do you collect that email? You can use one of the many sign-up form pre-designed templates. They're even categorized into what the sign-up form is for, whether you want to grow an email list or get more sales or stay connected, etc. And when you find one you like, you can click use template and you can literally just switch out the text in the main form and in the thank you page, and that's it, you're done. The platform's course creation tools are particularly valuable. So going back to the 30,000 foot overview of one of my businesses, you can create the lead magnets, the email sequences, the low ticket offers, and even the high ticket offers, all with GetResponse with no need for additional software. There are a lot of community building features too, like you can host weekly webinars, you can run live Q&A sessions, you can manage interactive workshops, all from one platform. The system handles everything from enrollment to content delivery to payment processing. But what's more, you can create a free account with 30 days access to premium features so you can test everything risk-free. Plus, their 24/7 support team is always welcome, and it does come in handy if you do end up getting stuck somewhere along the line. So if you are interested in trying GetResponse, click the link in the description below. Anyway, back to Apple products, moving on to the Apple Trackpad. The Apple Trackpad, in my opinion, one of the most underrated productivity devices Apple makes. Actually, just before buying that trackpad, I bought this Apple Magic Mouse. I ignored all the terrible reviews and I bought it anyway. Big mistake. I don't actually mind that it's not very ergonomic or that the USB port is at the bottom. What I do mind, it is not very accurate at all. And what this means is when I'm trying to click on a very small icon, it takes a split second longer to hit it with this Apple Magic Mouse than it does with, for example, another mouse like Logitech Anywhere, for example, or even this Apple Trackpad. So I use my MacBook Pro 14 that has a trackpad alongside the Apple Magic Trackpad because it offers a larger surface area for precise gestures, and I'm eliminating the ergonomic constraints of being tethered to your laptop's position. So where I'm typing and I have to bend my wrist like that to use the trackpad, it's just a little bit awkward, whereas when I'm using this big trackpad, I can just move my hand like this as opposed to like this. Its slightly inclined design also reduces wrist strain during extended work sessions, something the flat fixed position of your MacBook's trackpad doesn't address. Plus, the Magic Trackpad's pressure-sensitive surface and haptic feedback provide a more refined experience, particularly for creative work requiring nuanced control in apps like Photoshop or Final Cut Pro. So, not a 100% necessity, but the trackpad does increase my daily productivity, although probably only very slightly. However, one device that does significantly increase my productivity is my now quite old iPhone 13 Pro. As of making this video, the iPhone 16 Pro has been released for more than 6 months now. I haven't bought it because every year Apple just make very small incremental improvements. As a result, myself and I think a lot of other people have stopped renewing their phones every year, every 2 years, every 3 years because the upgrades just aren't worth it. It doesn't stop my slightly older iPhone being a massively important part of my whole kind of Apple ecosystem, productivity system. The afternoon is where I tend to do most of my meetings. I just tap do not disturb mode on my iPhone and it stops all my Apple devices, including my MacBook, iPad and Apple Watch, from sending me any notifications. And of course, I can use my iPhone, which can serve as my webcam through continuity camera, providing crisp, professional video quality. My AirPods Pro handle audio with crystal clear noise cancellation. Meanwhile, my iPad displays client notes through Sidecar, and my Apple Watch silently notifies me of time marketing during the call. So when I do have meetings, it's my iPad mini that I use for taking notes. When I'm sitting with clients or in team discussions, pulling out a laptop can feel like putting up a barrier between you and the other person, but the iPad mini with the Apple Pencil is perfect for just taking quick notes. It just feels a lot more natural, like having a notepad, but with all the benefits of digital. I can quickly jot down ideas using apps like Notes or GoodNotes, and thanks to iCloud, these notes instantly sync to my MacBook and iPhone. If someone shares a document during the meeting, I can pull it up on my iPad mini while keeping my notes open, making it easy to reference information while writing. And if I need to share my notes after the meeting, and I love this, I love AirDrop, I can just AirDrop them from my iPad mini to my MacBook, to my iPhone, to my MacBook, to my iPad mini. It's so easy. Saying that, after the Apple Magic Mouse, the iPad mini is probably my least used Apple device, simply because I use it for two reasons. Firstly, I use it primarily for note-taking, and the second reason I use it is I use it as a second screen when filming. And I only film maybe once every 2 weeks, so I really don't get as much use as I could do out of this iPad mini. Saying that, I would never sell it, because when I do use it, very occasionally, it does really come in handy, and it is actually very useful, even if I don't use it every single day. One app that I do use multiple times a day, though, is Apple Reminders. Alongside Apple Calendars, Apple Reminders is the most used app on my phone by a long way. So Apple Reminders is basically my task list. For more than 10 years, I've used task list on my phone daily to combat, in many ways, procrastination. Procrastination often creeps in during those moments when you're wondering, what should I do next? And with a task list, that question vanishes. You always know exactly what needs your attention. Task lists also just make you more of a reliable person by essentially replacing memory with systems. Our memory naturally fails us, we forget things. By documenting tasks externally, I've become more productive and more reliable as a person. It simply just makes life easier. I keep my task list as a widget on my phone's home screen, ensuring I see it every time I unlock my device. This visibility makes it impossible to forget what needs doing, and creating a constant reminder that keeps me on track throughout the day. In a nutshell, Apple's ecosystem has created a framework where everything just flows naturally. Each device knows its role, each app integrates perfectly with the others, and the whole system adapts to how I work. If you like this video, I made another video recently on Apple's Genius free app productivity system, Notes, Reminders, Calendars. You can click on this card right here to watch that, because in my opinion, those three apps, Notes, Reminders, Calendars, used together is by far the most powerful, most streamlined, most well-designed productivity system. And I'll see you over there.